It was supposed to be a routine scouting mission, but the events that unfolded that day would forever change the course of my life and the relationship between my people, the Terrans, and the strange, water-dwelling species we encountered, the humans. I had been a scout for many cycles, traversing the vast expanse of our galaxy and cataloging the resources of countless worlds. My people, the Terrans, were a proud and resilient race, thriving on barren, arid planets where water was a rare and precious commodity. We had long since mastered the art of extracting every last drop of moisture from our environment, and the very thought of being submerged in the deadly substance filled us with dread. As I prepared to embark on this latest mission, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The coordinates we had received indicated a planet that was rich in water, a place that by all accounts should have been uninhabitable for any self-respecting Terran. But my superiors were convinced that this world held some untapped potential, and so I found myself boarding the Needle ship, my protective gear meticulously checked and double-checked. The journey to the planet was uneventful, and as we approached, my sensors picked up the telltale signs of a thriving ecosystem. There were swirling clouds of water vapor in the atmosphere, and the surface of the planet was covered in vast, shimmering bodies of the liquid. My heart sank, and I silently cursed my superiors for sending us to this watery grave. When we landed, I stepped out of the ship, my protective cocoon encasing me like a second skin. The air was thick with humidity, and the ground beneath my feet was dotted with puddles that threatened to dissolve my very being. Gripping my equipment tightly, I signaled to my team to fan out and begin their scans. It was then that I caught sight of them. The strange, bipedal creatures that inhabited this waterlogged world. They were splashing about in one of the larger bodies of water, seemingly reveling in their proximity to the deadly substance. My first instinct was to rush to their aid, to warn them of the impending danger, but as I watched, I realized that they were not being harmed. In fact, they appeared to be enjoying themselves. Baffled, I motioned to my teammate to join me as I observed the curious beings. They seemed to move with ease through the water, their limbs propelling them forward with remarkable grace. I couldn't believe my eyes. These creatures were not only unharmed by the water, but they were using it as a means of recreation. As we continued to watch, one of the creatures emerged from the water, its skin glistening with the deadly liquid. To my horror, it approached us, a strange expression on its face. I braced myself, ready to defend my team. But the creature stopped short, its features softening into what I now recognize as a smile. Always the bolder of the two of us, charged forward, her protective cocoon billowing behind her. The creature stepped back, its expression shifting to one of alarm. I quickly intercepted, pulling her back before she could breach the creature's personal space. It was then that the true extent of our misunderstanding became clear. The creature, along with its companions, had begun to don their own protective gear, much like the ones we wore. They were reacting to our presence with the same caution and trepidation that we felt towards them. With great effort, we managed to establish a basic form of communication, using a combination of gestures and the limited translation capabilities of our equipment. It became clear that these creatures, whom we later learned were called humans, were not only unharmed by water, but seemed to thrive in its presence. They spoke of vast oceans, of rain falling from the sky, and of the countless species that lived in and around these aquatic environments. I was utterly baffled. Everything I had been taught about the inherent dangers of water was being challenged by these bizarre, water-loving creatures. How could they survive in such a perilous environment? And why would they willingly immerse themselves in a substance that could dissolve a Terran's very being? As we continued to communicate, the humans proved to be remarkably forthcoming. They seemed genuinely interested in our presence and eager to learn more about us. In turn, they shared stories of their own world, a place teeming with life and abundant in the very resource that we Terrans feared the most. I couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. If these humans were able to thrive in a water-rich environment, what did that mean for our own species, which had evolved to survive in the arid wastelands of our home planet? Were we truly as resilient and adaptable as we had believed? The ambassador, a seasoned diplomat with a reputation for keeping his cool in even the most trying of circumstances, was equally perplexed by the humans' revelations. He had dispatched us to this planet with the expectation that it would be a barren, inhospitable world, perfect for the establishment of a new Terran colony. But now he was faced with the realization that this planet, which we had dismissed as a watery grave, was in fact a thriving, habitable world, one that the humans were actively seeking to colonize themselves. As we prepared to depart, I couldn't help but feel a sense of trepidation. The humans had shaken the very foundations of our beliefs, and I couldn't help but wonder what other surprises this waterlogged world might hold. Little did I know that this was only the beginning of a journey that would forever change the course of our two civilizations as we navigated the treacherous waters of interspecies diplomacy and the wonders of a world that had once seemed so alien and inhospitable to us. Establishing an embassy on Earth. The ambassador's mind raced as the spindle ship carried us back to Terran space. The revelations about the humans and their relationship with water had shaken him to his core, and he knew that the implications of this encounter would reverberate through the highest levels of our government. As soon as we docked, the ambassador summoned me to his private chambers. His crystalline features were etched with a rare expression of concern, a stark contrast to the serene confidence he typically exuded. "Scout, I need you to tell me everything you observed about these humans and their world," he said, his voice tinged with a sense of urgency. I recounted the details of our encounter, from the humans' casual interactions with the deadly water to their apparent abundance and reliance on the substance. The ambassador listened intently, his sensor spindles twitching with every new revelation. "This is most troubling," he murmured, pacing back and forth. "If what you say is true, then this planet, this Earth, could be a valuable resource for our people, but the risks involved in establishing a presence there are immense." He paused, turning to face me with a determined gaze. "We must proceed with caution, but we cannot afford to ignore this opportunity. I will petition the Council to authorize the establishment of a Terran embassy on Earth." And so began the arduous process of planning and executing the construction of our first diplomatic outpost on a water-rich world. The ambassador handpicked a team of our finest architects and engineers, each one outfitted with the most advanced protective gear our civilization could provide. As we approached Earth once more, the sight that greeted us was both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling. The planet's surface was a vast, undulating tapestry of blue and green, dotted with towering mountains and sprawling landmasses. Streams, rivers, and oceans stretched as far as the eye could see, a constant reminder of the deadly element that permeated this world. The ambassador's jaw tightened as he gazed upon the scene. "Proceed with caution, my friends," he said, addressing the assembled team. "Remember, this planet may be habitable for the humans, but for us, it is a treacherous, waterlogged hell. We must not let our guard down for a moment." With that, the team descended to the surface, their protective cocoons shimmering in the bright sunlight. I accompanied them, my senses on high alert for any signs of trouble. The initial stages of construction went relatively smoothly as we carefully laid the foundations for our embassy using the hardy, water-resistant crystal seeds we had brought with us. But as the days turned into weeks, the strain of our constant vigilance began to take its toll. The rain, a seemingly innocuous phenomenon on Earth, quickly became our greatest adversary. The deluge would come without warning, pounding against our protective gear with a relentless fury. Time and time again, we would hear the ominous hiss of water seeping through the smallest of breaches, forcing us to halt our work and retreat to the relative safety of our temporary shelters. And then came the fateful day when disaster struck. One of our workers, a seasoned veteran named Grilled, had been carefully tending to a newly planted crystal when a curious Earth creature, a dog as the humans called it, approached him. Before any of us could react, the dog's tongue had brushed against a tiny tear in Grilled's protective cocoon, exposing his carapace to the deadly liquid. Grilled's agonized scream echoed across the construction site, and panic erupted among the team. We scrambled to assist him, but the damage had been done. The water had begun to dissolve his outer shell, and we knew that we had to act quickly to prevent further injury. As we rushed Grilled to the safety of the Spindle ship's infirmary, the ambassador's rage was palpable. He stormed onto the surface, his sensor spindles bristling with fury, and demanded that the human authorities take immediate action to control their wayward creatures. To our surprise, the humans responded with a remarkable level of understanding and cooperation. They quickly apprehended the offending dog and sequestered it for further study, all the while expressing their sincere regret over the incident. The ambassador, grudgingly impressed by their swift response, agreed to continue the construction of the embassy under the watchful eye of human security forces. But the damage had been done, both to our morale and to our carefully laid plans. The relentless onslaught of rain had taken a heavy toll on our crystal structures, and we were forced to watch in dismay as the once sturdy foundations began to crack and crumble under the onslaught of the water. It was then that the ambassador, in a rare moment of humility, approached the human representatives with a proposal. "Your world is rich in water, a substance that is both essential and deadly to our kind," he said. "We cannot complete this embassy on our own, not without risking further harm to our people. Will you, as our allies, assist us in this endeavor?" To our relief, the humans did not hesitate. They immediately mobilized their own construction crews, working tirelessly alongside our teams to erect a sturdy, water-resistant outer shell for the embassy. Once the initial structure was in place, we were able to focus our efforts on growing the interior, our crystal seeds thriving in the protected environment. As the weeks turned into months, the Terran embassy on Earth began to take shape, a testament to the power of cooperation and the bonds of friendship that were slowly forming between our two civilizations. And while the sight of the water-laden skies and the constant patter of rain against the embassy's walls still filled me with a sense of unease, I couldn't help but feel a growing admiration for the resilience and adaptability of the humans. Perhaps, I thought to myself, there was more to this water-rich world than we had ever imagined. Exploring the wonders of Earth, with the Terran embassy on Earth firmly established, I found myself spending more and more time in the company of our human allies. As a member of the ambassador's honor guard, I was tasked with observing and reporting on the interactions between our two civilizations, a duty that I had initially approached with a heavy heart. After the trials and tribulations of the embassy's construction, I had grown increasingly wary of this waterlogged world and its strange, amphibious inhabitants. The constant threat of rain, the ever-present danger of wayward Earth creatures, and the sheer overwhelming nature of the planet's aquatic abundance had left me feeling on edge, constantly bracing myself for the next disaster. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, something unexpected began to happen. I found myself slowly, almost reluctantly, becoming fascinated by this world and its people. It started with the small things, like observing the human children at play, their laughter and joy as they frolicked in the rain, or splashed through the shallow puddles that dotted the city streets. I couldn't help but marvel at their fearlessness, their complete lack of concern for the deadly liquid that surrounded them. It was a stark contrast to the cautious, measured movements of my fellow Terrans, who never dared to venture outside the embassy without the protection of our reinforced cocoons. And then there were the humans themselves, with their endlessly varied appearances and cultures. I quickly learned that the term human encompassed a vast and diverse spectrum of individuals, each with their own unique histories, customs, and perspectives. They were not a monolithic entity, as I had initially assumed, but a rich tapestry of countless threads woven together into a vibrant, living tapestry. As I immersed myself in the study of human society, I found myself drawn to the seemingly endless variety of their cities, their architecture, and their technology. The humans had harnessed the power of water in ways that were both practical and ingenious, using it to power their homes, transport their goods, and even to sustain their very lives. It was during one of my visits to a human residential district that I encountered a particularly fascinating discovery: the phenomenon of plumbing. The humans, it seemed, had constructed an intricate network of pipes and channels that carried water directly into their dwellings, providing them with a constant supply of the life-sustaining liquid. I marveled at the sheer audacity of this concept, the idea of willingly bringing water into one's living space, and yet the humans seemed to accept it as a mundane, everyday occurrence. My curiosity piqued. I began to explore the city more thoroughly, venturing out from the embassy with a growing sense of wonder and trepidation. I observed the humans as they went about their daily lives, watching in fascination as they navigated the bustling streets, their movements fluid and effortless, seemingly unaffected by the ever-present threat of water. And then, one day, I stumbled upon something that truly captured my imagination: a vast, shimmering body of water that the humans called a lake. I stood on the shore, my protective cocoon rustling in the gentle breeze, and gazed out at the tranquil surface, my sensor spindles twitching with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Cautiously, I approached the water's edge, watching as the waves lapped gently against the shore. The sound was soothing, almost hypnotic, and for a moment I found myself mesmerized, forgetting the very real danger that the liquid posed to my kind. It was then that I saw them, the human children, once again splashing and playing in the water, their laughter echoing across the still surface. I watched, transfixed, as they dove beneath the waves, only to resurface moments later, their faces alight with pure joy. In that moment, I felt a shift within me, a breaking down of the barriers that had long since separated my people from this water-rich world. For the first time, I began to see the beauty and the wonder in the very substance that had once filled me with such dread and fear. As I returned to the embassy, my mind racing with the experiences of the day, I knew that I could no longer view Earth and its inhabitants through the same narrow lens. This was a world teeming with life, a world where water was not a deadly enemy, but a vital, life-sustaining element that had given rise to a truly remarkable civilization. And so, with a newfound sense of purpose, I dedicated myself to learning everything I could about this strange and wondrous planet. I pored over the historical records and cultural archives, immersing myself in the rich tapestry of human knowledge. I listened, rapt, as the humans shared their stories, their myths and their dreams, and I began to see the world through their eyes. It was a transformation that did not go unnoticed by the ambassador, who watched with a mixture of pride and concern, as I became increasingly enamored with the world of the humans. He knew that our people had much to learn from this encounter, but he also understood the risks that came with growing too comfortable in such a foreign and inhospitable environment. And so, as the months passed, I found myself torn between two worlds: the familiar, arid landscapes of my home planet, and the lush, water-drenched wonders of Earth. But with each passing day, I found myself drawn deeper into the embrace of this strange and captivating world, my fascination and respect for the humans growing with every new discovery. Interspecies cooperation and diplomacy. As the Terran embassy on Earth continued to take shape, the ambassador and his team of diplomats worked tirelessly to forge a strong and lasting alliance between our two civilizations. The initial misunderstandings and challenges that had marked our first encounters had slowly given way to a growing sense of mutual respect and understanding, as we came to appreciate the unique strengths and perspectives that each of our peoples brought to the table. At the forefront of this diplomatic effort was the ambassador himself, a seasoned veteran whose skill in navigating the complexities of interspecies negotiations was truly unparalleled. He had seen firsthand the initial fear and trepidation that had gripped my fellow Terrans, and he knew that overcoming those deep-seated biases would be no easy task. Yet the ambassador possessed a keen intellect and an unwavering determination that allowed him to navigate these treacherous waters with a deft touch. He listened intently to the concerns of my people, acknowledging their legitimate fears about the water-rich environment of Earth, while also gently challenging the underlying assumptions that had shaped their worldview. In turn, the ambassador forged strong relationships with the human diplomats, learning to appreciate the unique strengths and qualities of their civilization. He marveled at their resilience, their ingenuity, and their boundless curiosity, traits that often seemed to be at odds with the more cautious and pragmatic nature of the Terrans. As the negotiations progressed, the ambassador and his human counterparts worked tirelessly to establish a framework for cooperation and exchange that would benefit both of our peoples. They hammered out agreements on trade, resource sharing, and cultural exchange, laying the groundwork for a truly symbiotic relationship. But even as the diplomatic process advanced, tensions and challenges continued to arise, testing the resolve and patience of all involved. The Terrans, still deeply wary of the planet's ever-present water, struggled to adapt to the realities of life on Earth, and there were numerous incidents where our protective gear failed, exposing us to the deadly liquid. It was during these trying times that the ambassador's true leadership qualities shone through. Rather than retreating in the face of adversity, he redoubled his efforts, working closely with the human authorities to address the unique needs and concerns of the Terran population. He advocated tirelessly for the construction of specialized, water-resistant infrastructure within the embassy, and he even went so far as to negotiate the establishment of a dedicated medical facility to provide care for any Terrans who were injured by accidental exposure. And as the ambassador worked to address the practical challenges of our presence on Earth, I found myself playing an increasingly important role in the diplomatic process. Having spent countless hours immersed in the study of human culture and society, I had developed a unique perspective that allowed me to serve as a bridge between our two civilizations. I acted as a translator, not just of language, but of the deeper cultural nuances that often eluded even the most seasoned diplomats. I shared my insights and observations with the ambassador, helping him to navigate the complex web of human politics and social dynamics. And when tensions threatened to boil over, I would often step in, drawing upon my newfound understanding of the human psyche to diffuse potentially volatile situations. It was a delicate balancing act, one that required me to constantly navigate the shifting sands of my own loyalties and beliefs. As I spent more time with the humans, I found myself growing increasingly fond of their vibrant, water-laden world, and I began to question the long-held assumptions that had once defined my people's relationship with this planet. Yet, I remained acutely aware of the need to maintain a level of objectivity, to serve as a neutral arbiter between the two sides. I knew that any hint of bias or favoritism could undermine the fragile trust that had been built between the Terrans and the humans, and I was determined to do everything in my power to ensure the success of this crucial diplomatic mission. And so, with each passing day, I found myself becoming more and more integral to the ambassador's work, my unique perspective and insights becoming increasingly valuable as we navigated the treacherous waters of interspecies cooperation and diplomacy. As the Terran embassy on Earth slowly but surely took shape, I could not help but feel a growing sense of pride and accomplishment. We had overcome the initial challenges and misunderstandings, and in doing so, we had forged a bond between our two civilizations that was stronger and more resilient than ever before. Yet, even as I celebrated this triumph, I couldn't help but wonder what the future held. For the Terrans and the humans had only just begun to scratch the surface of the wonders and possibilities that this new alliance could unlock, and the path that lay ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. A new frontier and a shared future. As the years passed, the Terran-Human alliance blossomed into a partnership that transcended the boundaries of our respective civilizations. What had once been a tentative and cautious relationship had evolved into a vibrant, mutually beneficial collaboration that opened the door to a future filled with endless possibilities. At the heart of this transformation was the unwavering dedication and vision of the ambassador, who had tirelessly navigated the treacherous waters of interspecies diplomacy to forge a lasting bond between our two peoples. Under his guidance, the Terran embassy on Earth had become a shining beacon of cooperation and understanding, a place where the unique strengths and perspectives of both the Terrans and the humans were celebrated and cultivated. As for myself, I had become an integral part of this diplomatic endeavor, my role as a bridge between the two civilizations growing in importance with each passing year. Through my deep study of human culture and society, I had gained a unique understanding of the complexities and nuances that often eluded even the most seasoned Terran diplomats. It was this understanding that allowed me to play a crucial role in the expansion of our alliance, as the Terrans and the humans turned their sights towards the exploration and colonization of new worlds that were suited to the needs and preferences of both of our peoples. The first steps were tentative, as we carefully surveyed and assessed the various planetary bodies within our shared reach. Some were too arid and barren for the liking of the humans, while others were veritable water worlds that filled the Terrans with a sense of dread and unease. But through patient negotiation and a willingness to compromise, we were able to identify a number of promising candidates, planets that, with a little terraforming and the combined efforts of our two civilizations, could become vibrant, thriving hubs of interspecies cooperation. And so, the Terrans and the humans set out to conquer the stars, their ships and exploration teams working in tandem to chart the course of this new frontier. I, along with a select group of my fellow Terrans, was chosen to accompany these expeditions, serving as cultural liaisons and ambassadors to the newly discovered worlds. It was during these voyages that I witnessed the true power of the Terran-human alliance, as the two civilizations pooled their resources and expertise to overcome the challenges that lay before them. The Terrans, with their mastery of crystal-based technology and their intimate understanding of arid environments, worked alongside the humans, who brought their own unique strengths, their boundless creativity, their adaptability, and their deep reverence for the water-rich worlds that had once seemed so alien and inhospitable to us. Together, we terraformed barren planets, coaxing lush vegetation and abundant water sources from the once desolate landscapes. We established thriving colonies where Terrans and humans lived and worked side by side, sharing their knowledge and traditions, and forging a new, shared culture that blended the best of both of our civilizations. And as I watched this transformation unfold, I couldn't help but marvel at the profound impact that our first encounter on that waterlogged planet had had on the course of our history. What had once been a source of fear and trepidation had now become a wellspring of opportunity and growth, as the Terrans and the humans united to conquer the vast expanse of the cosmos. Of course, the road was not always an easy one. There were moments of tension and misunderstanding as the two civilizations grappled with the challenges of integrating their vastly different perspectives and approaches. But time and again, we found a way to bridge the divide, to find common ground, and to work together towards a shared vision of a better, more prosperous future. And as I look back on the journey that has brought us to this point, I cannot help but feel a deep sense of gratitude and pride. For in the face of the seemingly insurmountable obstacles that once stood between us, we have proven the power of cooperation, the strength of understanding, and the transformative potential of a shared interspecies vision. The Terran embassy on Earth, once a symbol of our trepidation and uncertainty, has become a beacon of hope, a testament to the incredible things that can be accomplished when we are willing to set aside our differences and embrace the unique qualities and perspectives that each of us brings to the table. And as I gaze out into the vast, star-filled expanse, I can't help but feel a sense of wonder and excitement for the future that lies ahead. For the Terrans and the humans have only just begun to scratch the surface of the wonders and possibilities that our alliance has unlocked, and I know that the path forward will be filled with discoveries, challenges, and triumphs beyond our wildest imaginings. So, I stand tall, my sensor spindles held high, ready to face whatever the universe has in store for us. For I am a proud Terran, a seasoned diplomat, and a bridge between two extraordinary civilizations, and I know that together, there is no limit to what we can achieve.